So hey everybody, how's it going? Good. I happened to come down with some sort of thing where I lost my voice, like the day that I'm supposed to speak. So this is gonna be fun. I haven't been talking all day in order to preserve all my words. So for those of you, I see a lot of new faces out there. So I thought we'd go ahead and do an intro. For those of you who don't know, this is CHAdev Plus Lunch. CHAdev is kind of a group that helps organize events for developers in town. And every week on Thursdays, this time, we do a lunch. And we provide lunch for you guys. And we talk about something interesting in technology. We'd really like to thank all our partners. Damn it. That's not their logo anymore. I'm supposed to put their new logo up there. They actually went through an awesome redesign, and I'm a scumlord and didn't put their. But OpenTable definitely gives us helps sponsor all this lunch, as well as Lamppost, Carbon5, EPB, Collabs, StudyWork, and UTC. And they're the ones who make all this stuff happen for all y'all. So definitely give them some say thanks to them, and also if you're looking for a new job, I think all of them are hiring. So always good to know. Also, there's lots of other things to do to get involved in town. This is an actual list, and this is a web page, and you can go to it and click on those links if they're interesting to you. And this is just at GitHub or chadev.github.io/lunch, and you'll find those links. So definitely follow up on that stuff. There's lots of great ways to get involved. And if you want to take it even more hands-on, you can help join CHAdev. You can go check out our meetup. You can join our GitHub org where we host all of our code, and we would love to see you there and have your pull requests. So. And also join us on IRC. Lots of us chat in there. It's fun. Good times. Lots of turtle jokes and stuff. Yes. And also, if you could go to the site and vote on how we thought lunch was today, that would really help us out. So, with all of that out of the way, this is going to be the smoothest transition ever. Today we're talking about asset performance and optimization, and I happen to be one of the people giving that talk, joined with my friend Brett Wise. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of awesome ways to optimize your assets. So let's just hop right in.
We're tag teaming as well.
Yeah.
Probably should say that.
Yeah. Well, we're both talking about stuff. So it's important. This is like serious business stuff. This is what we were listening to when we were actually putting this talk together. And it's really good.
Last month, we were really prepared. We were doing this.
Yeah, not last night.
Not last night.
At all. So what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to talk about optimizing all of the things. Not all of the things. Actually, we're really going to talk about optimizing your front end things. And we need to kind of lead in with a little bit of a disclaimer, which is don't check your brain at the door. Everything we're going to talk about here is based on our experiences and research that we've done, but your situation is going to always be different than our situation. So these are some good principles, but take them, actually measure things and get real data, and make sure that they're going to work for you and do tests. So don't take anything that we say here as gospel, go test it out and see if it actually makes your sites faster. And I think that's it. So before we get started, how many people here feel like if you could rate yourself beginner, intermediate, and advanced, how many people would say they are beginner, front end, optimized expert people? Like one or two? How many people say intermediate? Okay, more hands. How many people say advanced? Oh wow. Well, maybe y'all should get up there and do this talk then. So why do we do any of this? Brett?
Yeah, so one big reason would be the impact on mobile users. So if your site isn't fast, people are just gonna straight up leave. It's about 6 seconds before they bounce on average. 40% of users will bounce after 3 seconds. And overall, people have a 2-second expectation for site load. That's over the last year. Of course, that's changes over time. About 85% of people expect mobile to load faster than, or as fast as desktop, and 75% of people will just straight up leave your site if they feel like it's slow and go to a competitor's. So kind of important in that regard. On the desktop, people wait about 3 seconds before they bounce, and so it's important just to measure everything. You want to?
Yeah, sure. So obviously performance is a very important part of your site. We all kind of know that. That's what we're all here today. So how do we get started? The first thing is you measure everything. It's a lot easier to get a promotion when you start and you say, here boss, here's a slow site, and now I made it faster. Because otherwise your boss is going to be like, why are you wasting all your time? And I don't see any output. So measure everything. There's lots of great tools to do that. YSlow and PageSpeed are kind of the two really good standard ones. YSlow is a Yahoo thing, and PageSpeed is obviously Google. There's also these other great sites like Boomerang. Who's used Boomerang before? Anybody? Boomerang is awesome. It's a piece of JavaScript that you can embed in your site, and it will give you actual real user metrics. Send it back to your server for you on what your users are actually seeing. So that's really important. The other thing is that you want to actually determine your target browsers. So different browsers have different optimization techniques. If you're only delivering to IE 6 and 7, then that is different than if you're trying to optimize for greenfield browsers or for any decent IE, just like IE 10 and up. So yeah, you want to definitely measure your stuff because you don't want to waste all your time optimizing for a thing that for a use case you don't even have, because that's a big waste of time. And your boss isn't going to like that. Yeah, we're talking about real user monitoring, also called a RUM. That's like a tool like Boomerang. You can also use Google Analytics for this kind of stuff, because Google just kind of gives you samples, and Google's data is kind of cryptic sometimes, which is a little confusing. So, but definitely go measure all the things, and that way you actually know what you're doing. So let's hop in. So first steps. That's a theme. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Most important thing you can do is go home and enable gzip. Who uses gzip right now? So about like half of the people use gzip. It's free, basically. You turn it on and it makes your site faster. A lot of people think that it uses up clock cycles on your server, but that's not true if you pre-gzip your files and put them on the server. So, like literally just pre-gzip your stuff, put it on your server, flip the bit in Nginx or Apache, or is anybody using anything besides Nginx or Apache? IIS, Tomcat, I think JBoss, something. Okay, so you can enable gzip and all those things, and it's gonna make your site faster. On top of that, this is a real cost savings. How many people are using CDN? So like 2. Okay. Well, if you're paying for any sort of data transfer, you're sending less data, so you're now actually saving your company money.
Yes. For the beginners in the room, can you explain what gzip is and how it works?
Oh, that's great. So gzip, the TLDR of gzip is just it compresses your files, and that's as much as we're going to talk about that. There's lots of really good tools to gzip stuff out there. So go find the one that you're using for your tool chain, and it'll do it. The next big thing is set your cache headers. All right, set actual headers for your assets. Have them set to a reasonable length, like a year. I think a year is what the HTML standard tells you should do. You can set it for 10 years if you want to. But set cache headers because you don't want your users always downloading your stuff. Images. You guys talk about images?
Yeah. So, images, of course, make up the majority of the site's weight. Over the last year, if you look at the stats, images in terms of bytes have gone up about 30%. So it's important. is the low-hanging fruit, right? So
The lowest of hanging.
the lowest it is. And what can we do? Well, we're going to start with some low-tech stuff here. And let's just talk about the formats. JPEG, best for photos, of course, images with many colors. GIFs, I think we all know that purpose. That's right. PNGs, of course, for logos. And it's important here to distinguish between PNG 8 versus 24. 8 is going to be for like fewer colors. You use 24 for transparency, if you need partial transparency. Some other sort of formats out there. WebP. WebP is a Google thing. It's a format that is supported in Chrome and Opera. And it comes out to be about 25% smaller than JPEGs at comparable image quality. Yeah, there's that. And JPEG XR, this is a Microsoft technology, and it's been supported since ID9. So the jury's kind of out about like how useful this actually is. It seems like a lot of the tests that I've looked at that actually JPEG XR is not even as efficient at compression as JPEG is. So maybe not use it. I don't know. All right, onward.
All right, so that's the basic stuff. So if you go and do that, yes. Question.
What about vector graphics like SVG and browser escape?
That's a great question. Yeah, there's actually really clever hacks you can do with images, and you can actually deliver everything, like so you can like sprite images and that kind of stuff, and basically deliver one image file that has everything inside of it. It's just like spriting from like video games. You can do that on the web page. SVG, you need to look at your browsers because certain browsers are going to have different implementations. They do some testing. Yeah, Android, and well, yes, mobile. It gets really rough. SVG gets really rough on mobile, most other things. So yeah, so intermediate. So if you go do the session just covered, that's like all the basic stuff. If you go do that, you will see a notable increase in your site's performance. And hopefully you're already doing some of those things, but definitely go do more. So intermediate. This is like now this starts to get into like fun territory. So serve your assets through a CDN. Who knows what a CDN is? Okay. Who knows why you use a CDN? All the same people? Good. For those of you who don't know, CDN is just a content delivery network. It hosts your assets for you, amongst other things. And it cuts down the actual distance that it takes for your users to get to your asset. So it is physically closer than your server is. And because that has less hops and all that sort of stuff. Go turn a CDN on. You may not be able to always afford the best CDN. CDNs are kind of pricey, but I think Cloudflare still has a free option, and it's pretty good. I've used it before. So go turn something on. You'll be in a better place.
Core assets. Core assets are often already on CD. So if you use jQuery,
yes.
Bootstrap, any of that core stuff, there's already a CDN out there that serves it.
Yeah. You can, a lot of that sort of like jQuery and that kind of stuff does get hosted on a CDN. There's reasons to not do that, as we'll talk about. But like for instance, if you really have hard dependency locks, and not everything is there. But yeah, for a lot of that stuff, you can host it on a CDN and it's already pre-cached in most people's browsers, so that's a good thing. So avoid DNS lookups. So this isn't always true. A long time ago, this wasn't always true. Today, it's true. You want to avoid doing multiple DNS lookups. So before, the reason you would want to do DNS lookups is because you could download CSS in parallel. Things like ID6, 7 would only download 2 CSS files from any given domain in parallel. So that's bad. So you would post your stuff on multiple domains in order to like get more parallel. That's not true anymore. Or like it just the circumstances have changed enough to where you actually just want to put all your CSS on the same domain. A DNS lookup means you have to go actually hit that thing with an HTTP request before you can start downloading your file. And that is that much more overhead you have before you actually download your file, your CSS file. And the browser is going to optimize for CSS. So the thing is that CSS blocks the page doing anything else. And so you want to get all your CSS in there as fast as possible because that's how fast it takes to actually like load your DOM. So yeah, you want to do as few DNS lookups as you possibly can. There are exceptions to that rule, but by and large, we should all be good. Use smart caching strats. With strats. For instance, if you've got a whole bunch of vendor code and you've got a whole bunch of application-specific code, vendor 2 files, like create 2 files and cache your vendor assets separately than your application assets. Because how often do you really change your vendor assets? Like you might upgrade jQuery whenever the latest thing comes out. That's not every day. And ideally, you're probably pushing new features every day. So what that means is that if you bundle all that up into one single concatenated file and then deploy that to your servers, every time you bust a cache or you deploy something new to your application, your user has to re-download that entire huge bundle. Whereas if you actually split those files out, you can download just the application code that you need when you bust that cache. The vendor assets don't change, and then the user can get those cached in their browser. So does that make sense? Thank you, Brett. You've got the next one.
Yeah, shout out here to LearnCSS, which I think is a front plugin. I know it's a Gulp because that's the one I use. If you're going to be using these big libraries like Bootstrap or Foundation, of course you want to go through and sort of selectively pick which features that you're going to use. But if you just want to be lazy, like I do, and not go in and do that before, just go ahead and get like the full package, and then during your build process with Gulp, run it through UnCSS, and it'll comb through all your HTML, look for classes that are used, and then dump any that they find that are unused. The cool thing about this too is that you can also not only just feed it like static HTML files you have in your dev environment, like you can also feed it URLs as well, so that if your application is like dynamically adding classes and whatnot to the template that it's spitting out, then you can deal with those too and remove any unused. So, UnCSS. Woo!
How many people know that you can do something similar to this in Chrome? Anybody know that? Okay. If you go to the Audit tab in Chrome, you can actually tell it to show you all the unused rules for that page. So if you're trying to optimize your loading page and you realize you're including all of Bootstrap, and you don't need any of Bootstrap, or you need like one font, maybe just pull that font out and optimize your page. All right, so advanced topics. Optimize your init, your initial congestion window. Who knows what the initial congestion window is? Also, feel free to ask a lot of questions because this is like kind of where it gets into crazy. So, so who knows how TCP requests are? So, okay, so basically the way that the internet works, or well, the way that stuff works, is when a browser tries to go get a file, it sends a send, the server responds with a send act, the browser responds with an act, and then we like fire off like a cluster of packets down to that browser. Anybody know how much data you can put in a packet? Anyone know? About 1,500 bytes-ish. What? Yeah. So about 1,500 bytes, sort of. At best case scenario, you can send about 10 packets in that initial congestion window. That initial congestion window is there from like the dawn of the internet. Basically, it was like the networks are going to get better, and how do we make sure that like people with fast internet and fast connections don't like break people who have slow connections. So it starts everybody slowly, and then ramps up over time. It works great for SSH and things like that, but it works really terrible for when you're just doing a single HTTP request. So you can optimize this to be higher. This might start out at like 3, which means you have 3 packets worth of data to be able to send down to your browser on that initial page head. Really want that about 10, because about 10 would give us about 15K to work with. which is awesome. It's 15K, we can put a file in 15K. What that means is that during that initial set where we send those initial packets down, if we can get around a smaller size, we can send a single whole file all at once. And then the browser doesn't have to like constantly like be asking us for more data and sending ACKs back and all that stuff, and all that just slows down the page. So we really want to chunk files in wrong thing. We really want to be able to chunk files into 10K groups.
Question.
Yes.
If you optimize that, your initial pull down to like 15K,
Yeah.
what sort of savings are you looking at there in 1 second? Like,
It depends. I mean, it totally depends on your test.
fair enough. But, alright, why something about it?
So ideally, we want to be able to, if we can chunk our files into the 10K groups, we can send them all at one thing, assuming we've optimized our initial congestion window, which you have to do OS specific. So it's based on your setup and your stack. But if you Google how to optimize initial congestion window, you'll find a lot of stuff. So yeah, so we need some way to chunk files into 10K groups, which means we need something awesome like Webpack or another tool to actually be able to do that, because we probably don't want to do it by hand. It also allows us to create multiple entry points. So if we're like we know that people are going to be coming to our site from all different places, we can actually create multiple files depending on where they're going to land and optimize for those. And again, you can use a tool like Webpack. It's really good at all this stuff. You can also inline small scripts. So this is true for basically anything less than 400 bytes. So for instance, like Google Analytics or something like that. It's not worth putting that in a separate file, even though it's going to be cached, because you can actually put it inline and it'll save you time overall. This is totally empirical if you need to go test this for yourself. But actually, in general, if you just have a very small set of stuff, you just shove it in your page and it's faster. And then I think this is you.
Yeah. All right. So earlier we were talking about images. We're kind of looping back around here to sort of a more robust solution. So like, you know, if you don't want to have to take your JPEGs and also encode them into WebP and like cover those use cases, people are using Chrome and Opera and all that stuff. We can get into some stuff like ImageIX. It's pretty cool. So basically what ImageIX is, it's a service that you connect to your image store, like S3 for example, and you reference their dependency-free JavaScript library on your page and user methods and stuff. And what it does is it detects the viewport size and also what sort of like pixel density that image needs to be requested, the original image, and this original image should be like really high res to cover like, you know, all the different resolution sizes. It'll pull that. They have a GPU optimized encoding, so it's really fast, and it'll make the request to the specific image size that you need, like an iPhone 5S or whatever that is, like 420 by 320. We'll get that image for the largest size that it needs to be for the particular container that it's in, and then serve it. And then it's cached on their CDN, so that next time you don't have to render it, and it's just served that person with the particular resolution requirement. So yeah, like the really cool thing is that as these new formats come out, like WebP and stuff, like you don't have to worry about it. You just put your original like super large image, like whatever it might be, like an 8K image on your image store, and then as people come through and request, like maybe they're on Chrome, so actually they'll serve WebP format to the Chrome browser at whatever image size that they need. So it kind of ends up saving you a lot of headache. Yeah, and they also have, you know, libraries for things like, you know, if you're on Python or Ruby or whatever, just about anything that you could want. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. I've not had a chance to use it like in a production environment yet, but It's kind of something I'm keeping in the back pocket for all the time it's appropriate. I think.
Should we move my conclusion? This is really bonkers.
Oh yeah, this is all me. I forgot about this part. All right, crazy. This is the kind of stuff we talked about, putting some like crazy people stuff in here. And I was up late one night and somehow stumbled on this like anybody know HTML5 boilerplate? Yeah, it's cool. If you don't know it, like you should just check it out and see how they're kind of like doing stuff. They do. Good place to start. But anyway, they have some other projects, like, you can go there and they actually have like server configs and all sorts of sort of just boilerplate that you can pick up on. Anyway, I was in on, somehow I made my way to some like GitHub issues discussion that was like 4 years old and found this crazy discussion. And that was probably about 6 months ago. And I was like, I remembered it for this talk. I was like, I got to talk about this because it was crazy. And I spent like probably an hour looking for it, and I was like trying to come up with the right keyword set, for Google to like spit it out at me. Big headache. Anyway, so the question is, are you ready to have your mind blown? Because we've been talking about, okay, you're supposed to like concatenate all your files, right, and reduce your HTTP requests and all this stuff. But what if I told you that concatenation may not always be the best thing? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's see.
Oh, yeah.
We got a double here.
It's like Christian Bale session.
I know. All right, so let's see if I can actually pull this up.
No, you got it.
Yeah. Also note that guys, Amazon came out and said that for every 100 MS increase, they lost 1% of sales. So just to know the importance of
There you
doing
go.
all this
Okay. So here we are at the thing. Okay. And there's a really, really long sort of blog post here about like why concatenation may not always give you the best performance, and you can dig into that if you want. But let's just go straight. Somebody built a test for this, okay? And so what this is doing is it's running through from splitting your style sheet files and your JavaScript file of 100 bytes each, and then splitting those into 2 equal sizes. And it goes all the way up to 16, like splitting them into 16 pieces, and looks at the performance of each. So pretty consistently, if you look at it, it actually ends up being quite a bit, like around 10 to, so this one where we just concatenated just one, we had one style sheet, one JavaScript, we were at 909 milliseconds, whereas with splitting them in half in equal parts, we got 590 milliseconds. So it's quite a bit faster. And the guy that built this little test, basically, obviously this needs like a lot more testing, and he kind of wanted to do like a test with like, several terabytes of actual usage, but he didn't have the money for that. So this is kind of where we're at, and this has just kind of been like stuck in this kind of state for like the last 5 or so years, as to whether or not, is this definitively, is this what's happening? It seems like it is with, probably what's going on with the asynchronous download here or what have you. Yeah, go ahead.
Has that been on mobile devices?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they found even on like mobile connections that it was still better in most cases.
The modern mobile connections or
like 3G. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, good question, though.
This is all going to change to, like, all the concatenation rules are going to change to once like, speed, like, forces its way into the rest of the internet. Because all the concatenation rules change when you can download multiple files from a single file.
Yeah.
So Google was abandoning speed or less than
HTTP 2.0. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, is it much speedy like part of HTTP 2?
That's what I mean. Yeah. HTTP 2.0 is speedy implemented in all the rest of it. Yeah. So all the rules are going to change again once that actually like comes to fruition.
So you should test.
So you should test.
That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Testing is going to become even more important because if you don't have browsers that actually understand that stuff, then your rules don't change. So go do a lot of testing. I get back to the thing.
What's that? On Nginx, it's really easy and simple to enable speeding. It's just as long as you have an HTTPS site already, which you should. Then it's literally 5 characters.
Yeah, most of everything in Nginx is really easy. Oh no! Oh, you have broken.
I broke it.
You broke it.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Alright, let's just do this.
Hey, it's too cool. Can't leave, you know?
Alright, so in conclusion, if you want to talk about this stuff more, hit us up on Twitter or at Meetups. We would love to talk to you more about all this because we're huge nerds. And this is like the kind of stuff that's really interesting to us. These slides are on GitHub, so all the like information that's in there is on GitHub. And that's a real link, so I can send you. I'll put that on the Meetup page and in IRC and in all places.
Probably have some more links too.
CSS Wizardry is a really good place to go for lots of like front-end performance stuff. Webpack.org, Wise and Chris Keathley, Image Optim, which we didn't really get a chance to talk about. But Image Optim is this great tool. It's on OS X. I think it might be ported to Windows. You just drag and drop files on that thing, and it'll run it through a bunch of algorithms, and it compresses them, and they come out awesome.
You can automate that with gold too.
Yeah, you can do stuff with gold. So I think that's it for us, and I think we have some time for questions. Does anyone have questions? Yes, Sean.
How about inlining large files? Because remember, OpenHP talks about that it's good to inline large files as long as you keep the entire size of the page compressed your 14 kilobytes. Is anybody doing that? Like,
You can do it with Webpack. You can automate it with Webpack. I'm kind of of two thoughts about the whole thing. I think like if you, I think there's a lot of benefit to caching a bunch of your files, but do tests. Like if you're not serving that much content, it may not be worth the overhead of an HTTP request. I don't know. So it depends. Do tests, and I come down in favor of wanting to cache things, but that's me. Yeah.
Have you played around with the picture element a lot yet?
Yeah, cool down. Image cache.
I haven't.
Yeah, I played with it just a little bit. We're using it on the Chondev side of the building, but it's good for serving multiple, we're serving a perfectly sized like picture for the appropriately sized need.
Right, because it lets you load in different. Yeah, it lets you swap in other URLs for stuff.
Yeah, and for inline images, and
Yeah.
support's getting better. There's a really good polyfill that I'm using on the Chondev site, and it appears to work great. Of course, it relies on JavaScript, so weigh your pros and cons. But it's really great for reducing the size of your site on Google, for sure.
Anybody else have questions? Nothing? Nothing at all? That was like so clear and concise. We rocked. You just thought it was so boring.
Yeah.
That's probably.
At least the gifts are good, right?
Yeah. Gifts are always good.
Yeah.
You may not always get good content. You always get good gifts. Okay, cool. Well, if there's no more questions.
That was like 90% of it.
Whatever. You know how long it takes me? Let me open up my important things folder. Oh, that's on my desk.
They can't see that.
Oh, can you not see that?
No.
They're on the other screen.
Hang on. Important things folder.
So, you should make a CD.
Yeah, I have a Ruby script. Okay, for myself. Okay, well, cool. If there's no questions, then we'll go ahead and call it here. Next week, we're going to have Andrew talk about React and building games with it, which seems pretty fun. And then the week after that, we're having a special guest speaker from Knoxville in town. So, and that's going to be awesome. And then after that, I think I have a talk, but it never hurts for you to come up here, so you don't have me the night before prepping a talk. So, for when my backup goes away. So, in any case, thanks for everybody for coming out, and see you next week.